Oh, go ahead.
Hit it,
It's your show.
baby.
Oh my goodness. So I never started one. How does this work? Welcome, everybody, to the May 14th meeting of Youth and Education, CB1.
Bang, bang.
We are being recorded right now, so if you don't want to be recorded, then get off. And I'll start with the agenda, which is here. Awesome. You guys want, you have not had one. Okay, and the first agenda item is, my goodness. Okay, school and educational facilities capacity. I did not bring these.
Review of 2025 budget response.
Okay, let's start with the budget first.
Let's.
That's the second page.
First one.
Okay, capital request related to youth education and child welfare. Priority number 46 out of 55 is renovate or upgrade a high school at 75 Broad Street. Do we have any responses from DOE on any of these budget items?
Yeah, they're on here.
Hi, everybody. Hey, who started? We're going with the budget first, and we're hoping to be done by 6:30. Okay.
It's this one.
Oh, I
those
missed
are
that
the
one. I've only got
responses.
this.
Oh.
Do we have more? Do you guys?
I have a second.
Joel,
I thought it was.
email me a copy of that letter, so I could send it to Tammy. It doesn't seem that you probably got one.
What was their response?
Excuse me?
Oh, they're not connected. So number 4 from the bottom is please contact the agency directly and promptly for this request requires further study. Oh,
Where are we looking at?
so
We're
the
looking
first,
at the requests and then the responses.
yeah, priority number 46 out of 55, which was with the school construction authority to renovate or upgrade a high school, which is located at 75 Broad Street. And their response was, please contact the agency directly and promptly.
So I'm confused. This was done years ago. Why are we looking at these very old?
Are you saying that this is not?
Previous one, and then, he wants you to update those.
Update and say that they're checked off the list?
State them if you want to make any changes to their responses.
Yeah.
Is this question illegal?
Sorry, where are these documents?
Did you get them in the mail?
You're gonna be serving alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
They came via email. I was looking for them online.
Yeah,
So we have a box that's here, that's very old document,
Yeah,
but it's been requested that we give a status on it. We did do this, but we're gonna go on the record because somehow it didn't stick. So the 77 Greenwich Street is obviously PS 150. Is there another? Oh, yes, please help yourself, and you can see this, good, come on.
yeah.
77 Greenwich Street is PS 150, obviously. It was called that for a while, but then moved to the Trinity Play School, and then it was moved to PS 150. So those decisions came much later than this original request, but they did fulfill the 476 seats. So we can say that they have fulfilled their, promise. And the second one is to construct a sufficient amount of school seats in CD1 next 5-year plan. Class sizes must be brought back to blue book density guidelines. That did not happen. So that community district needs related to youth education, child welfare did not happen. The second one needs for youth and child welfare needs additional active indoor and outdoor recreational space, including ball fields. It remains a top priority with so little active recreation space available in Lower Manhattan. We're forced to search for available fields. Important, we need additional funding for after-school programs. Child welfare has never been brought to the board as a standing issue to be addressed. And the pandemic continues to weaken our local providers, and research will be necessary to reassess the state of services when social distancing is no longer required. Again, this is a few years old,
Yeah.
However, I will go on the record to say they did not fulfill that promise. We have no money. In fact, they have cut our money. We had about, advocating in Five World Trade for some indoor recreation space. If you guys know how many of you were here then, that never happened. We also, the FCA, which I think probably should be a renewed resolution about creating freestanding gyms because they can no longer accommodate that footprint in all of these private-public partnerships. So I think I might put that on the agenda for us to tackle. And so that one was not fulfilled. Let's see, what else do we have here? Capital requests, renovate or upgrade a high school. This is Millennium. And probably 4 years ago now, right before the pandemic, the school came to us and the 14th floor became available. The school was so overcrowded. My daughter was actually in the most overcrowded year, which was 2018. And she walked into a CTT class with 37 kids.
Yeah.
So that was no good. And so they were having classes in hallways, things like that kind of story. So when the 14th floor became available, the principal reached out to me and he said, we would like your help in getting this space for the school. So we rallied to get the space for the school and we were successful. So I'm going to give that a 50-50 because we got the space for the school, but then they attached the space to school seats. And this is the thing, this is going to go in that resolution to the SCA, as a lot of you know. The SCA doesn't build anything unless they attach it to school seats. So in this case, Millennium they only needed like 2 or 3 classrooms. The floor is a huge footprint.
Yeah.
The rest of the space, they wanted recreation space for dance or something because they have no gym.
Yeah.
They have no space. They share like this weird auditorium on the ground floor with a bunch of other people. So more than 3/4 of that was supposed to be rec space. The SCA, without telling anybody, came to celebrate the lease taking of that space, only to then tell us that they have created like 9 classrooms, 10 classrooms. So the available recreation space ended up shrinking exponentially. I asked them if they wanted to advocate for us to do something about it, and they said they were comfortable with what they got. But it was a great heads up. You know, we've now experienced this how many times? 4 or 5 times where the SCA has either requests or obliged themselves to do something, and then at the last minute, we find something has changed. The S-150 did not get the full-size gym that was promised in writing that we received. Harbor School, they were so careful after what had happened to us. They were so prepared. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 emails from the programming people that describe what's necessary in terms of the dive tanks and the programming needs for their program. And they're building from the ground up. They had no constraints. And sure enough, the equipment room does not have its own entrance. So these kids are now going to be dragging tanks and scuba gear up a passenger elevator that is shared with the rest of the classroom kids. So we're looking for solutions for them right now. Again, I can't show these plans. I can tell you that much because I don't think it's going to change. And so one time after another, we see these situations where they're not fulfilling exactly what they say, and everybody is meant to feel grateful for anything at all. And I don't think this is the way we should be running a school system. So, so that's for that. That's for that resolution. But for now, I will say they partially fulfilled it. Well, I'd say they 75% fulfillment on the 75 broad promise. The other one is renovate, replace the elevators serving school facilities. 81 New Street is Lower Manhattan Community School. That is in the same building, has a different entrance. The elevator banks, where my daughter was there in middle school, I would say 3 or 4 times a week, kids would get stuck in those elevators, like between floors, like scary stuff. And these are middle schoolers, you know, like 10, 11, 12. They did not renovate them, as far as I know. Unless something happened without me being told.
Can we reach out to the
We
school?
could reach out to LMC and see if they've been done, Lucy. But I do know that what they did instead is give them access to the main elevators at 26 Broadway. And a great inconvenience to the people, the working people in that building. They took one of the elevators there and a guide took the kids there and shuffled them up to the 10th floor as a temporary measure. So I'm gonna give that a fail unless proved otherwise. The SCA renovate interior repair elevators serving school facilities at 26 Broadway, that's the same thing. These are the same thing.
I got a question.
Okay. Or are we reporting back?
You're basically reviewing these
Okay.
that were submitted, and if you want to submit them again, or do you have anything new that you want to add, so we can add
Just
it
raise your hand.
moving forward?
All right, well, they're 4 years old, the ships have sailed, so I'm, you know, what I can do is that is just give him a, you know, results email. We could do that.
Our,
That-
our distinguished member has a question.
We can't remediate at this point, what's that?
Maybe we can introduce our new.
Yes.
Yes.
We'd like to meet you.
I didn't even see you there a couple times.
I'm so sorry. Can you please introduce, welcome.
Jet lag been welcome.
I thought you were a guest, I'm so sorry.
Hi y'all, how y'all doing? My name is Kamel Terry.
Camille?
Camille.
Come out.
Terry. I recently got accepted to be on the community board.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, yes, I've been working with like youth since like for 4 years now, youth development. And I became a passionate advocate 2 years ago, just advocating for like youth. And, you know, Exalt Youth have referred me to apply here. I know y'all know where Exalt is at. Battery, so. Yeah, so quick things about me, I love music, I'm into faith and I'm into my community, so.
Sorry, I was 10.
Camille. Do with you, that's just, yeah.
I'm Desi.
Exactly, yeah.
How are you?
Feeling really great.
Where are you jet lagged from?
Oh, no, I was making a joke, I said, welcome.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you work or go to school or you look young enough to be in school?
Yeah, so, I'm currently focusing on CUNYs right now.
Okay.
Focusing on which CUNY that, I'm gonna, get into because I
Okay.
applied to 6 different CUNYs, for, associates of communications. And as far as for employment, I'm looking for new employment. I actually have something cooking with, the New York City Public Advocate Office.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, that's something cooking up right now in the works. Yeah, this Thursday, so.
Good
Good luck.
And welcome.
Welcome.
What's the name of those? I forget her name. She comes and reports for, the
Oh,
public effort.
Hernandez.
Yes, I'll
um,
remember it. You see, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm old. I don't remember her name, but she would be a good person to be in touch with if you're looking for the public effort.
Lupe.
Lupe, yeah,
Lupe.
Lupe.
Okay.
I agree.
We'll get you her.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. We look forward to having your point of view and your participation. And, yeah, so if anything sounds unfamiliar that we've discussed, feel free to get me after the meeting. All right, so
But yeah,
I will be doing a couple of stuff after the meeting's over, so stay with me 5 minutes if you don't mind.
all right.
Thank you. You got it?
That's-
all right, and then at last, our last thing to look at in this old report is the expenses, expand MetroCard coverage. They did succeed in that, but they did not give us Saturday. I would like to have Saturday.
Agreed.
So they gave us more rides during the week.
It's fabulous.
And now we should really push on for Saturday. That's one we could actually still push on for.
I know this is probably impossible, but like, I mean, we've been pushing, I mean, people have been pushing it for a long time, but some sort of discount for CUNY students, you know? I mean, there should be, you know, cohort programs at CUNY do provide Metro cards.
Right.
But we've had students, I work at the UCC, and like, we've had students who've said, you know, to us that, you know, sometimes choosing between a sandwich and going to class, you know, is what I'm gonna,
I'm gonna pick.
I'm gonna
What are you
pick
gonna pick?
salad.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, because all of our students commute from, almost all of our students commute from other boroughs. I mean, Brooklyn's our biggest feeder, you know, but,
Let's put that on. I'm gonna put that on next month.
that would be fabulous.
Yeah.
Did we eliminate the time limits? Because I
Uh,
believe they were going up to what, 7 or?
Yeah, we did kill it at 8 o'clock PM, I think. I'll check
8
on that, but otherwise, you know, it can get, the thing about it is, in every other country that I know of, Europe, no student of any kind pays for any subways. So we're the only country that I'm aware of, I don't know about Canada, that our students pay. I don't quite understand it. So, and I just came from DC where I paid $6 for a 25-minute trip.
Oh.
So, you know, our regular fares are quite low in New York.
Yeah, they are, it's weird in DC.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my God, it takes like an hour to get, you know, you gotta go up to this chart and then you have to think it twice.
Yeah, in most other cities, you have to pay based on where you're going. Whereas here,
Exactly.
one fare, top of the Bronx, bottom of Brooklyn.
So can we talk more about how the program was, I mean, the MetroCard program was expanded? So the time limits, you mean that you couldn't do it in 15-minute intervals, right? Is that what you're
No,
talking
meaning
about?
that it only went into, you could only get, what is it, a half fare up to like 6 or 7
6 or
o'clock.
7.
Right, yeah, okay.
They don't,
That's,
MetroCard, they don't use MetroCards anymore, right?
well, we're going to Omni.
We're
but-
moving to.
Oh, yeah, but,
They're given, the kids are given these cards for, the ones that, you know,
oh.
like they pick
Wait,
them up
so
in
you
the
know-
office. And so my daughter played sports.
Yeah.
And they would get them to the event, but they wouldn't get them home. I guess they were assuming they were going with the team in some sort of organized transportation, but
Right.
they're not. They were, it was like, bye, I'll see you up at the 165th.
Take that.
Well, you know, you go outside of, New York City, the school systems provided a bus to take
Yeah.
their kids to this.
That's true.
Generally, yes.
And
Yeah, they-
I'm gonna say also, as a historical authority, I mean, going back in the day, when I was in school, in high school, first they had free, they called it bus pass, they didn't have MetroCards those days, they had tokens. And then, to contribute money to the system, then they would charge us a nickel a ride, but that was when the fare was like 50 cents. So,
Yeah.
and then little by little, they kept going up.
Back in my day.
Yeah, but you know,
We had
buses were
price
powered by,
bus
with
passes.
horses.
It was depending on like what zone you lived in. You could
But that's
get
true.
free or have-
Well, and-
I mean, the big complaint from the city was, all these kids are jumping the turnstiles, and I was like, you know, you can either have that, or you can just give them the rides they need.
Exactly.
Because 3/4 of these kids are not gonna be able to come up with the $9 a day to be
Yeah.
going to school and to sports events,
My,
and nor should they.
my,
So,
my point is that at one time, they did that. Kids had free rides, they didn't have to pay anything. And then they said, oh, we can't afford it anymore.
Yeah, these are either half price or free, but they have all of these like limitations.
Limitations.
Right.
Yeah, like the student pass, it cuts off at a certain time.
Right,
Yeah.
and if you're involved in sports or activity, or I remember I was in theater classes, we would perform and like, you know.
Okay, so as for this line item, the expanded student MetroCard program, what is the current situation? You can do it
you get
depending
You
on,
get 3 rides a day, they've released the half fare, and then if you play sports, your coach is to hand you your ride home. So they're the ones distributing that last ride.
Oh, it's like a single
I
ride.
shouldn't just say coach, there are other programs, right? There are people who do,
After school,
yeah,
yeah.
any kind of after-school activity that is part of the programming of the school.
Mhm.
And then, you know, we didn't get Saturday. And I still wanna fight for that because a lot of these sports events are on Saturdays.
Right.
Is it okay if I bring it back to the SEA for one moment real quick?
Yeah, sure.
I wanted to ask, like, do y'all know of any instances when the SCA really did come through and they followed up on their word to any other community districts? And if so, like, would it be a way to know what worked or when inspired them to do that?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you heard the whole thing, so as I look back on here, it's just a matter of what it took and how thorough of a job it was.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, you know, under my tenure, it was the biggest growth in the neighborhood. And after September 11th, people were given incentives to come down here. And they came, droves. We went from, trying to make sure I get this right, 35,000 homes to 78,000 homes in 9 years.
Oh.
So FIDI had over 230% growth in that period of time, which if it was a city, would be the largest in the United States of America in terms of growth. The rest of Community District 1 was a 77% growth. So crazy, I have these things in my head. Shows you how many reservations. The closest to us was 11%. Okay, citywide, the closest growth next to us at 77 in all of CD1 and 235% in FIDI was 11%. So, and I think it was in District 2, it might have been the CD3 too. So it was, to say it was a crisis would be a huge understatement. And, you know, I'll be quick about it, but one of the people, we had a overcrowding task force that also met. And Shelley Silver actually headed it up, and he was the one that started it. And it was a huge gift to our neighborhood, because I think that task force facilitated communication between the SCA and DOE that they never had otherwise. And we then had the principals come, I came, the chair of the board, you know, at that time it was Catherine McVeigh Hughes. She would come to some of the meetings as well. And we would all sit around the table and we would talk about, and Eric Greenleaf, who was the one that actually got me involved in this in the first place back in 2008. He was a professor at Stern School of Business at NYU. And in his free time, ran data on how many kids we projected would be hitting first grade or kindergarten based on the growth. And he was within 5% accuracy of how many he predicted when he saw the year they were born. He took statistics on how many kids were born, 55% in case anybody wants to know. When they're born in a community district, 55% of those will likely end up in the kindergarten in that district. And we were at like 56, 52, 57. It was unreal. So it was the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, the birth, you know, those birth certificates, and then the buildings department, who could then show us the buildings that were going up. A lot of them were conversions on Wall Street. So in 1 year, you would see 1,500 apartments added. And it was going at a speed that we couldn't keep up with. So anyway, long story short, they did get it done, but it was incredibly painful and they denied it. Bye, Rosa. And they denied it and said we didn't need it. And the schools had to, Spruce Street School and PS 276 both had to incubate in Tweed Courthouse because the kids came and there was nowhere for them to go. My daughter walked into 8 classrooms at PS 234. The school's built for 5. So we got it done, but it wasn't great. It was 5 years late. And they didn't think it was necessary. So that's the track record. We don't have one track record that I can tell you since 2007. Because I can't speak to before that, but since 2007, we have built 6 schools. And the SCA, we've had to build 5 schools, I'm sorry, 5 schools. And the SCA did not think we need any of them. So it took a lot of elected officials advocating, but they did build them. So really, it's a kind of a tricky question. Some of them they built really well. Like Spruce Street School, the facilities were beautiful. They had a good footplate there. They were able to do, and same with 276. They did not consult the principals, so a lot of the rooms weren't as functional as they should have been. But they did a pretty good job of that too. But that was a freestanding building. They had much more success with those kind of things. But most of the others were built without gyms or less than they said they were going to do. So it's been mixed, but we got it done. but it's been super mixed. So no, long answer to your short question. They haven't built one without begging and pleading and having a huge amount of pressure put on them. And they haven't really fulfilled the entire scope. And I would say 70% of them. So
Would it be too much if, I guess, we, like had organized or advocated for like some kind of discretionary policy or accountability policy for them?
you are 1 month late on that because
Don't say.
we passed a resolution last month because there is no transparency about the money, the $1 billion the state gave the city to fulfill the state mandate to reduce class size. It's a law. Kathy Hochul put it into law that class sizes must be reduced.
Yeah.
The city spent the money on other things, and under mayoral control, as it stands today, they are not responsible or obliged to tell us how they spent the money, or even spend it on the thing that was earmarked for in the first place. And there's no penalty for them not meeting class size standards, the roll-in percentages. So obviously problematic. And this is why I think that was a theme, right? Is that they're not accountable to anyone.
Mhm.
And, you know, they're being paid by taxpayers' dollars. And so as such, they're employees of all of ours, and they should be accountable. So, you know, we're working on it one resolution at a time, but great question. So anyway,
Thing about the MetroCard.
Uh-huh.
So I was looking up the student MetroCard program,
mhm,
and it's a student, so they give the rundown, and it's a student MetroCards are distributed by your school.
mhm.
You can't get a student MetroCard directly from the MTA.
No,
Right. So I think it's important to know that, because if we're saying that we want to expand that and they say, oh, well, that's an MTA thing, this says that it is a school thing. And so where does is there a line item that comes from the city that goes directly for transportation?
great question, Desi. The resolution went to the city of New York. They make the decisions. They just distribute to the schools to then distribute to the kids.
So if it's up to the school to distribute it how they,
Are given. So if they're given 4
Okay.
rides a student, they give them the 3 rides to get to school, and then they give the coach the 1 ride to give the kids on the team.
so it's allocated specifically, or do they get a pot of money and they say, this is what we're using for transportation and this is how we will distribute it?
No, that's also a good question. I don't know the ins and outs of how that gets to the school. My guess would be that the school lets them know what their enrollment is once the acceptances have been made. And they then have a discretionary amount for after-school programming that they just give them, and they probably make some correction along the way. And I would imagine there's communication between the schools and the MTA once these kids get into the programming, right? And say, we need 30 more of these.
Right, so do they say, well, we have to go to MTA and see what they say if they give it to us, or?
They,
do
they,
have this?
they need to document why. So
But
they
again,
need,
this is the accountability that we're.
well, the MTA really does what the schools say at that point, if it falls within the guidelines of what they've agreed to cover. So let's say you've got 350 freshmen at the Beacon School. They're gonna give, and right off the bat, they're gonna give them those rides for those 350, not including the after-school stuff. Then the school's gonna get back to the MTA and say, we have 175 that are in after-school programming in some way, shape, or form. The MTA will then send them those extra rides, and then the school, it will be up to them to distribute it.
Gotcha.
We had a situation where the coach forgot to distribute it to the kids, and so the kids just kept jumping the turnstile, and they found this huge stack of
Stack of
Metro cards at the school. So there's that
Wow.
too. So, you know, it's by no means a perfect system. It'd be better just to make it free. And
Yes,
have them take their ID and swipe their ID and have something on all school IDs that have like a thing on it.
Just like, just thing, I agree, 2000%. It's an equity, it's an issue of equity.
They're
It's like-
judging
it's like-
different style anyway. I
Right.
would be so curious as to how much they're making on students. I'd be happy to pay an extra 50 cents to cover all the kids going to school in
Yeah.
the city of New York. I mean, like at this point,
I mean, even with CUNY, I think that that's, because the pool, the money comes, I believe, from the state or from the city as well. I know with the community colleges, they have more
City.
funding from the city.
yeah.
So, I don't know where the money would come from, but I do know that like it's absurd that students and, all students aren't given free access to transportation because how are they supposed to get there?
Exactly.
I mean,
That might be a partial state thing too. I mean, like, maybe we should be relying on the state for part of that. We're such a dense population and it's a very
Yeah.
expensive system to run. Maybe we
Well,
can think about
no.
that.
Speaking of equity, since now unless the courts change something by the end of the next month, we're gonna be involved with congestion pricing in Manhattan, and all that money is supposed to go to the MTA.
Is that where it's supposed to go?
Is there a lawsuit pending? There's a lot of lawsuits pending, but there's no injunction against it, as far as I know. Yeah.
New York.
I mean, I know it goes to transit, but does it go to MTA or does it go to like the New Jersey, New York Transit
No,
Authority?
so I think it's all
MTA.
supposed to go to the MTA.
Yeah, it's all
So-
New York.
So that would be one good gesture, where some of that money could go.
Mhm.
Because in the old time, students rode for free. If you lived a certain distance from the school, or you had a need to travel,
Mhm.
you got a free pass. And then little by little, they imposed a financial burden on students. No, it's not right. It used to be a rite of passage. You got your free pass and now you could travel in the
Yeah.
city. You didn't have to rely on your family, parents or whatever.
They don't give the white and green card no more?
I don't know what they do.
I think they do.
I might have a little kid and, so.
Yeah, it's just limited in its.
It's very limited. As are the buses. It's another conversation for another day. All right, so let's just look at the 5-year capital plan. We just talked about that. Book density guidelines was researched and documented by a CPC is kind of, I don't know. The blue book is something that used to be used more than it is now.
Which thing are we looking at?
This
Sorry.
is under community district needs related to youth education and child welfare. They're talking about the capital plan, just as a point of reference. All 5 of the schools I just,
That's the one?
this one, okay. All 5 of the schools I just mentioned were built outside of the capital plan. They had, one of them was built in an addendum to the capital plan. So the capital plan is supposed to look forward 5 years, but unfortunately, the way people were moving into the city and how fast the growth was, it's an inadequate model to be able to meet the needs, because it also takes the DOE and the SCA 5 years to build a school. It takes, Xiamen 9 months to throw up a building. So you can obviously see the problem there. And so while we have that situation, the 5-year capital plan, at least as long as I've been involved, is becoming less and less relevant. I think it was more to cover people migrating from one part of the city to the other, because it makes more sense under that structure. Like people, when they have kids, they move from here to there, whatever. It used to, I think, have more relevance under that, in that way. But with all this building, it just is completely, it never is gonna meet the needs. So they still do it, and in some parts of the city, I think it's probably more relevant than others. For us, it hasn't been. So class sizes must be brought back to Blue Book density. Now, this is written before Kathy Hochul's mandate, so that's kind of irrelevant now. Needs for youth and child welfare as a growing residential community, CD1 needs active, passive, indoor, outdoor, we did talk about this, including ball fields. So we did notice that as all this building was happening, it was putting a lot of pressure on our one ball field over in Park City. we are using ball fields. Is Andrew with us today? Yes. So he can tell us all the different places that our sports leagues go to play. And it's a lot, mostly in other neighborhoods. Maybe not mostly, he would be better to speak to that. But we wanted to advocate for more recreation space as all this building takes place. And they did not fulfill that obligation. And there is, there are places for our kids to play, and because of volunteerism, like Andrew, and many other people in the neighborhood, they have been able to, find out ways to meet the needs of our sports teams, but it's in no way ideal. Andrew, if you want to chime in and expound on anything there.
Yeah, and thanks for raising this. So I'll just give you perspective on Downtown Little League, which has grown to become quite surprisingly the largest single chapter Little League program in the United States, which is just astounding given our infrastructure. And in order to accommodate the size of our program, which is about 1,300 children, ages 5 to 17, we have to coordinate across close to 12 different locations, only one of which is really in our immediate community. We have some adjacent, but we're also moving to other places such as Randall's Island. And look, it works, but it's just not ideal. Gansevoort coming online has helped quite a bit. There was a full-size athletic field incorporated there, and we're able to use that, I think, for close to 16 different activities over the course of a Saturday and Sunday. But with East River Park being down, it's created some challenges. There are a lot of fields that are in, or recreational facilities that are in state of disrepair because of the cuts to the park budget. So it's becoming more and more challenging. And the other aspect that we've been observing, historically, the policy of the Parks Department has been to give priority to community nonprofit programs servicing the youth community. While that's still their stated policy, we've observed that they've been carving out time for, which I understand there's pressing needs and demands. I guess it's a question of, from my perspective, serving the greater good, but they've been carving out some time on many of the recreational facilities for adult programs, some of which are sort of pay to play programs. Things like frisbee, rugby, soccer, and it's just become a bit more competitive and difficult programming wise, because going into each season, we're just not certain what kind of field permitting we'll have. So I mentioned 12 facilities, but each and every year there's some uncertainty as to what we'll get. And in order to program for a season, we start our registration 4 months before our season begins. And we structure each season based on what we had last season in terms of permitted time. So it's becoming a bit trickier to manage. And I'm speaking from Downtown Little League's perspective, but I'm close to Downtown Little League, the Giants program, which is offering things like flag football and other programs for our downtown community, and they're facing the same challenges. Sorry,
So
probably a
can you
bit
say-
more than you were asking for, but that's the state of play.
Exactly what I was hoping for. So at this moment, you would say then that we would benefit greatly from additional recreational space.
Short answer, absolutely yes. And for anyone that was involved in the Gansevoort process, again, understandably, there are a lot of interests that come to the table for these public charrettes. But each and every time, it was the case with Pier 25, the case with Pier 26, and the case with Gansevoort, the youth recreational community comes out in force, just because parents are so passionate about having these types of programs for their children, not because it's a sports development opportunity, it's just community building, and it's just other aspects of a child's development and learning.
All right, so we're making it. It's not great. So we'll be, you know, we did advocate for that last year, but I think it's worth revisiting this year.
Yeah.
We have several things to go to the SCA with, and I'm just trying to pace ourselves, because we want them to be responsive.
Yeah.
But that really is a source of a lot of our issues right now. William?
Oh, yeah. How long have y'all been advocating for this specific issue with the recreational space?
Oh. Andrew and I have been on the board, what would you say, like 10, 12 years? 10 years?
I mean, I've been involved in downtown Little League. This is my 19th year. And I mean, since year one, when I became involved, and I initially became involved in the permitting process, we've been advocating for development of either improvement of existing field infrastructure, which if they were to tackle that would be quite helpful. We have a lot of fields that become unplayable at times due to weather, and if we looked to modernize some of these facilities, they'd be more playable. But it's been close to a 20-year journey, and I know people were at it before I was. That's how Battery Park City Fields came about. That's how Pier 40 Fields came about. People just advocating for recreational space.
Yeah.
As far as like, oh yeah. Pardon, I lost my train of thought, but I do remember the second part. I heard something really, I was about to ask the first part. The second part was, so like, could you just briefly tell me about like the SEA, like who really are they, and just.
Yeah, we could do that. Why don't you see me after the meeting so we can talk more about that? I think that might be helpful.
Okay,
But yes, I'm happy to.
yeah,
And sort of go over how, things go from one to the other.
yeah.
Unless everybody wants to.
Oh, I remember the first part. The first part was, oh yeah, what is some potential like, or some pushback that y'all received in the past from the SEA, or like, what do you think that y'all not seeing eye to eye?
I think it's money. I mean, like most things.
Yeah,
We live in New York City. Money in terms of education has always been a challenge for us. Lack of accountability is a big one because you can stay in denial a lot longer. There isn't a mechanism that really is foolproof. What that triggers school building, and triggers the building of a common sense amount of recreation space. It is all, as Andrew was just saying, it's a lot of grassroots advocacy.
yeah,
Which is why community boards exist, right? If government just did the right thing all the time, we probably wouldn't have to be here. But we bring the voice of the people to government. And we have representatives that then go to the city agencies and try to advocate for the things that. So, it's just something I think we're always going to have to do.
yeah.
And it's just that we're not unique. The cities are the same way. And we always seem to be perpetually underfunded though. Interestingly, in the richest city in the world, but not for education funding. And so
We're just one voice of many. And the power is in the hands of the governor, the mayor, and the legislature, and the city council. And we can ask, but they don't always respond in a favorable way. It's all political. I think that's the answer.
And to your stuff about, recreational space, we're also in a city that's probably the most competitive for space.
Yeah,
As of any city in the United States, in the world.
and the expense of the space,
Expense, it's so, So, but it's funny to you would think, you would hope that recreational space, especially like recreational space for youth and children, would be more of a priority. We have these great waterfronts, you know, I mean, we see it on some piers, but others is just.
And we're such a big sports city.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, our city like dominates in terms of athletics, and so you'd think that there would be some correlation between the preparation of those students and.
Well, I think some of it, I shouldn't say some of it's money, but as I'm hearing Desi talk, it's like, some of it's a lack of innovation too.
Right.
You know, we've had a lot of people come, we had this group at Pratt School of Architecture come, and they put together a proposal to build recreation space over the tunnel, coming out of the Battery Tunnel, because the city owns that airspace. It's a perfect place to do something. And we even presented it to the city, and their eyes just kind of rolled back into their heads. It's definitely innovative, right? You have to have, you know, you can imagine the engineering involved, but we've done many harder things than this as a city.
Sure.
And I think that, and they're not afraid of private-public partnerships.
Right.
So, you know, I think it's worth revisiting that idea actually, because it was such a good one. And it was at the time though, perhaps when we really were trying to get these schools built. And now that the schools are built, you know, I for one think we should turn our focus to recreation for all these kids who are now here. And also, you know, we also saw a huge shortage that became especially evident of the lack of mental health support in our schools, which was on our plan for this coming year.
Right.
So, you know, we can turn our focus to those two things and develop some resolutions around them and see what we can get done. You know, and I may call upon you, Andrew, to help me. You know, maybe we could talk about a resolution around, you know, what we have, what happens as you go to get your space every year, you know, and just have that be something that, you know, looking back on this now, you've got a track record of how it's progressed over the years, and, you know, we can put together something that's pretty, you know, profound, I would imagine, at this point in your experience, and, you know, maybe come together and decide what we'd like to advocate for, you know, maybe even something specific.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a health initiative. If we're looking to have space for physical activity and also looking to have increased mental health, maybe that is the focus, it's mental and physical health.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the time we talked about it, we did talk about the fact it also builds self-esteem.
Yeah, one begets the other.
It takes people out of poverty.
Yeah.
I mean, there are just so many important things that sports do for our kids. And so I agree with you that it can, you know, that should be part of that
Right.
resolution, is the data that we have on those things.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm aware that the community boards, like they always strive for making connections and relationships in the community, like with schools and different stakeholders. What I just wanted to like offer to the table, was a different perspective. Saying that like, what if we was different age, right? And I'm about to get into detail about that. Like my time, in the youth committee, at Youth Represent, they had grown us to become youth advocates, right? Advocating for ourselves. And like the impact on that was when a lot of these politicians who was up there in the board, when we went lobbying to Albany and advocating, you know, they seen us, and a lot of them like had that initial draw, right? A lot of them signed the bill because of the youth committee, right? Like the youth committee, is just highly regarded. So speaking about that different angle, it's all like, but in this case, like the youth, you know, so what if, right, like going to these relationships, getting these young people at these schools to make little arts and stuff like that, just become youth advocates, like being like you know, a message, right? Like that the SEA would like potentially see, and it would move them, right? And then just like also another example, like further into politics, is y'all all know about the case with Ligon and Davis, the stop and frisk situations. It wasn't until those people like stood up and like spoke until like the NYPD monitor like implemented the whole Office of Community Liaison to keep the NYPD accountable. So essentially, like what I'm saying is, if we get different people to advocate, right, and approach the SEA or our concerns from a different angle, that might move the hearts or move the hands in this situation in the pockets, the SEA.
It's like more of an infusion and an inclusion of youth voices.
Yeah,
I think that's a tremendous idea. You know, when Rosa was advocating for the Gotham Park, I don't know if you know, it's under the Brooklyn Bridge, and Rosa, who just left, she's been the prime mover, along with others, but in putting together that park. And I'm on the Parks and Water. One of the ideas they had, and I don't know if they ever really implemented it, was enlisting the PTAs in the various schools. So in order to say, we really need parks downtown. And by all means, if there could be a mobilization of young people to advocate for more parks and more recreation, I think that would, young people would come out. I mean, it's very difficult for the political authorities to say, no. It's easy to young people,
To the faces.
the young faces, and say, you can't have the things that are necessary for your future.
We have definitely had our kids get involved
Yeah.
when we needed them to. We held many, many rallies during the overcrowding days. All the schools would file over to City Hall and we'd get the press there and do all of that. And we can do it again. We did have some pushback towards the end of that by the schools themselves. Some of the principals were not comfortable having kids
I
get
heard that.
involved.
Yeah, I heard that.
So, you have to be careful, because the principals really do run the show in terms of if school kids are gonna walk out of the school and over to the rally.
I mean, look what's happening on the college campuses.
Yes.
Like administration is really, I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But it isn't as encouraged
Yeah.
as we like to see.
There's a fine line between our advocacy and our, and the principal,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean it can't be done, it shouldn't be done. And I think when it comes time for us to make this big push again, it would not hurt us to coordinate efforts, even if it's a grassroots community effort and not so
Agreed.
much a school-based effort. So the schools didn't have to be responsible. We could have it be more of, community-based efforts. So we've always been good at that here. Whose hands up? Oh, Andrew?
So I was just going to say, not necessarily for this evening's conversation, but the largest and most immediate opportunity we have in terms of at least outdoor recreational space, because we also need indoor as well, but is what happens at East River Park when it comes online. I mean, they've ripped up pretty much not all, but most of that. And we have been engaging with various stakeholders on, as they bring East River Park back online, how a reconfiguration and redesign could potentially quadruple utilization of what had been there. I mean, that would just be enormous for, and I know that's not immediately our community, but perhaps teaming up with the 2 or 3 adjacent communities that would have an interest as well. You could
Great.
really change the paradigm in the city if you really brought that back as a modern, redesigned recreational space.
Right, great point.
I saw something this morning, and people are complaining about the Google headquarters where they were supposed to have more affordable housing. And that's a legitimate complaint, but I understand from the article that I read that in lieu of providing more affordable housing, and I don't think that's right, but Google had contributed money to improve the Pier 40, and I don't know exactly what they did over
Edward
there.
would know more about that.
It was more of an air rights transfer. I don't think, so it was more of an air rights transfer that brought upwards of $100 million that went to repairing the piles that support Pier 40. I'm not aware Google itself made any direct contribution towards Pier 40. Maybe I could be incorrect, but the most impactful aspect of what occurred was the air rights transfer that brought 100+ million to the trust for the Pier 40 pile repairs.
They built that residential building across the highway. That's where the air is,
Yeah.
correct, Andrew?
Well, it's not even really a residential building now. That's what people are complaining. It's more like a corporate headquarters or corporate offices.
Well, Google isn't on West Street, are they?
Yes, they are.
They're right across from Pier 40 on West Street?
Yes, they are.
Really?
Is that the same building, Andrew?
Yeah, the scope of the project changed. In fact, I think the ownership of the project changed midstream, if I'm not mistaken. So
Well, that was the deal. So I guess whoever's building it is, that was the deal, that building is the air, that represents the air that was transferred.
it was a transfer of air rights, correct. And I believe it's actually a smaller scale building than what was initially envisioned.
Right, I did hear that.
So there was an article in one of the city blogs or something like that that was highlighted today about how it was supposed to be more affordable housing, and there really isn't that much affordable housing that they built. But the article seemed to suggest that in lieu of the affordable housing, that they had contributed like out of the goodness of their heart. So maybe it wasn't really out of the goodness of their heart.
They were required to contribute.
Yeah,
So like, part of the deal was the deal.
yeah.
They bought those, they paid the Hudson River Park Trust
Yeah.
for that air so that they could build.
So it wasn't really, then it wasn't really an expansion of the facility. It was more of a refurbishing and maintenance of the facility.
Oh, the whole infrastructure had to be redone. The piles were collapsing underneath the pier.
Yeah, that none of that money was earmarked towards a expansion or redesign of Pier 40, which it remains an ongoing conversation. It was essentially shoring up the piers, making necessary repairs to the garage facilities and other infrastructure related, as opposed to design and function.
Now, Pier 40 is not a public facility, it's a private facility, correct? I mean, it's not a public park. People go in there, I know people play soccer there, they do other sports activities. I'm not exactly sure, I've never personally been there, but I pass it all the time.
No, it's under the trust, it's under the supervision of the trust. It's a public facility. Anyone, as long as the field's not being permitted, anyone can go and use any of the open
So
spaces.
If I want to go there and kick a soccer ball around with my son, I could go there?
You 100% can. Now, I will tell you, Pier 40 is permitted pretty much from sunup to sundown, so you'd probably have a tough time finding available space. But yeah, if the field's not permitted, and there are times where even if it is permitted, it's not fully used for perhaps a variety of reasons, and people will just go out there and throw a football, kick a soccer ball. But it's very accessible to the public.
Okay, I didn't know that, but I know the field at Pier 40 on the other, 42 rather, on the other side, the so-called temporary field, to replace East River Park, has gotten busier and busier and busier. And like you say, it's very hard to get access to that field. There are all kinds of youth soccer leagues, football leagues, all kinds of.
I think, Andrew said it all. They're booked sunrise to sunrise to sunset. Yeah. I mean, our gyms are too, and all weekend. I don't even know when they have time to clean them.
And this is just anecdotal. I don't have any hard statistics, but I would posit that our recreational facilities usage per square foot, or whatever the appropriate measure is probably the highest just about anywhere. Because I mean, I'll use BPC Fields as an example. Tonight, if you were to go down there, you'll find 4 teams practicing on one field during a 1-hour session, and that's just not ideal.
Yeah, no, that I know about, because I go by there a lot.
That'll be, I think, we'll have to get some of these, those will all be our whereases. stating the things that we have and how they run and what would be better, and in addition to just having more space, period.
I just had a quick question, I think, for Andrew, like, about East River Park. So as far as there's still some decisions to be made as far as what that space will be, is that what you were saying? As far as recreation space? Like-
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think the answer to your question is no, there aren't decisions to be made, because when we've had our meetings, they've told us they intend to basically put back in place what they had, which would be, from my perspective, unfortunate, because it's not taking into account how to make the design and the materials better for enhanced function. And as I said, you could quadruple utilization.
Right.
Right now, they're just not even entertaining conversations about reimagining what that area could look like. They're saying focus is on the resiliency. For right now, our plan is to bring it back to what it was. And we've come
What you're
forward with some,
saying, though, Andrew,
sorry?
we could, even still, even though they're planning on bringing it back to what it was, there would still be, because given what they had, there would still be opportunities to reconfigure without like bringing it all to the ground, right? They would be able to, because they have fields there, right?
They haven't torn up all of the fields at the moment, but many of the fields are down. But even what they had there it was sort of a hodgepodge. It wasn't laid out well. If you simply reposition certain things, you would improve function and utilization. It was just cobbled together over time, and it again, it minimized the potential for utilization.
Right.
Well, I mean, would you say that there could be a world where they could still do some of that re-envisioning?
Oh, 100%. There's still plenty of time for that. The question just is getting their focus on turning their attention to it. I mean, getting them focused on having those conversations. They should be happening now because there is still plenty of time.
Yeah, all right, good. Well, you know what? This is great that we're talking about this tonight. And let's get moving on it, you know? So I'm gonna put it on the agenda for next month. And, Andrea, I may call upon you to, maybe just, can you pull together, what is at the moment in terms of how DLL is working?
Sure.
What's not ideal about it? What would be the dream? What are the obvious, solves? What, I mean, you're like uniquely qualified to talk about how East River Park could be better utilized and designed. Maybe we get specific with it instead of just asking for more space. Maybe we get a little specific with what we think is possible.
Yeah, happy to. And East River Park is not at all about asking for more space. In fact, you could do more with less at East River Park.
Right, it's more like reimagining it.
That's exactly what it is. You literally could present a plan that would make more with actual less of a footprint.
That's fantastic. Let's do it. So if you think you can do that this month or whenever you feel like would have the time to do it, I think we should move on this. And, maybe we can get a slide of what the park looks like, Lucy. And we can all sit here and, because Andrew can describe it, we can all look at it. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing it anyway.
There was talk on the park side of one time, making the whole lower on the East River side. Mark, Levine has talked about tearing down the FDR Drive below the Brooklyn Bridge. He even mentioned it last night at his,
Tearing
Yeah,
down.
he's
yeah,
Taking it down.
really, Got quite a proposal there.
I mean, whether it's a pie in the sky dream at this point, because there's no real support for it, but it's a vision. And the vision would be to create, look what they did in Brooklyn on Brooklyn Bridge Park. And I don't know how that's gonna be affected by the renovation of the BQE that's underway over there. But we're not in Brooklyn, we're in Manhattan. The vision would be to reimagine and reinvent the waterfront from the bridges south of the Battery into a park space with recreation and all kinds of facilities. But whether that'll ever happen, we don't
Why
know.
does that necessitate getting rid of the FDR drive?
Oh, because once you tear down the FDR drive, it just opens it all up. It just it makes it more attractive, it makes it more
Yeah.
accessible, makes it more beautiful and you know, I lived over there and you go under the FDR drive, they built like little basketball courts under the FDR drive. You go there and it's not a really good, nice place.
No.
It's dark.
Well, the way they did it in Brooklyn's actually better.
Yeah.
They've got the expressway running under the park space. And I mean, if we could ever get that to happen, it's kind of the same concept as what we were talking about with the Battery Tunnel. Is have the transportation underneath you, so you don't see it and you don't hear it. And,
It's such a huge
it's
infrastructure.
a huge infrastructure undertaking.
It'd be like the Big Bang in Boston, you know, like, you're talking like.
Well, look, one
If
time.
they keep building apartments like this, they're gonna have to make that investment.
I think so, I mean, like.
They're gonna be making a lot more in
At one time, the
taxes.
west side, the west side was dilapidated.
That's right.
So, it was like run down and down buildings and now look at it now.
People to go over there, and now you can't even afford
So we have
to.
That's right. Now it's the
Can't afford to
GoPro.
breathe over there.
Yeah.
So that's
Rarefied
what-
air.
The thing is to make it accessible to everybody, not just people who are multi-millionaires.
Exactly.
Talking about equity. Get on out of here.
But like, it's, highways divide.
Good word for that too,
communities.
Andrew,
They're
like,
they're
it's not just recreation, it's
That's
sports
what they-
program.
there's
So much congestion on the west side of the highway that,
I just want to love.
to get rid of this too. And it's also congestion for that.
just bury it, like it's tunnel.
Yeah.
Great.
That would be the ideal thing.
In the 1980s, there was a proposal. It was called Westway. And Westway was gonna go underground and they were gonna build on top of it. But that was gonna be so expensive, it never happened.
It's a shame.
But I remember Westway. But,
good?
and then it was gonna cause environmental problems in the river and all kinds of issues. And eventually it died. Senator Moynihan at the time was the big advocate.
He was, that's so, that makes so sense.
Anybody else have anything?
Are we moving to agenda?
Anyone online? Oh, Andrew.
It could be like a story.
Good evening, Andrew.
I love that.
Money.
Thank you guys for,
Thank you.
thanks for everything, and we will see you.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Bye.
Daniel Patrick.
Next time.
Good night, John Boy.
This is a great document.